everyone, happy Friday. It is Traci coming to you live from Golden Dog Adventure Company headquarters for another Lunch and Learn. And this month we are recognizing Pet Memorial Month. We've got a lot of great pop up talks and online programs for you this month. But we are kicking things off with our Lunch and Learn with our partner, Melanie Amarosa from Happiness for Dogs. How are you, Melanie?
Doing fantastic, Traci. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks. Glad you could join us. I just want to give people a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about today because this topic is something you may not be aware of. So, what we're going to talk about are serenity ceremonies and why they're important. Specifically, we're going to go over understanding the animal's view of on end of life. We're going to talk about how to change our mindset and remain present for our animal companions, and talk more about serenity ceremonies and how they can help both humans and animals. So, hopefully, you can spend a few minutes here with us on your lunch. I was about to say lunch hour, but do people even get an hour anymore? I'm thinking it's like a
Sadly,
lunch 10 minutes, you know. So whether you're spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes or the whole 20 to 30 minutes with us, or you're watching on the replay, if you have any questions or anything seems confusing, because like I said, this is a new topic, we want to hear from you and we'll get Melanie connected with you so you can learn more. So Melanie, before we jump into it, tell us a little bit about what you do at Happiness for Dogs and kind of the 30,000 foot view on what a serenity ceremony is.
sure thing. So, Happiness for Dogs is a body, mind, soul type of approach to animal wellness. I do canine massage, but I also do energy work and Reiki and energy clearing for all animal companions. And when it comes to serenity ceremonies, that is a process that I developed for humans and their animal companions as they're facing end of life. And it's meant to support both the human and the animal who have very different needs at that transition point. And it's designed to help them both process and move on from those events and to heal.
Well, I love this. I love the name Serenity. What a perfect name. And it's so appropriate for us to be discussing this during Pet Memorial Month. So I'm interested in learning about this new concept that you've developed and how it helps people.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a bit more in depth on what the ceremony is, but it is toward the end of the recording. But it is, again, a way to support both human and animal. We look at the energies of both and help clear some of the things that are holding both back from your animal companion from transitioning, and you from being there and being present for your animal and focusing on the most important aspect of your relationship with them, which is love and trust, because all these other emotions start to get in the way.
Yeah, so, and just make sure that I understand, because this is a new concept to me too. So we're talking about, this is before the animals crossed over, and this is the process that you're going through with trying to decide to let them go, or as they're crossing. Explain that to me a little bit more.
Serenity ceremonies can be done both ways. So it can either be done with the animal in spirit or before your animal passes. And it can be done just prior to euthanasia, or it can be done a few days and a few weeks ahead of time as sort of a preparation for you both. And there's many different components to it, but part of it is holding energetic space and allowing those negative emotions that creep up for us, the fear, the grief, the guilt, the sense of loneliness, regret, all those things that we hold on to as animal guardians, because we feel like we've let our animal down somehow, or there was something we could have done better. All this stuff starts to just come up for people. And energetically, what we do is we hold the space, we start to clear out those emotions and just focus on that connection of love and unity that you have with your animal companion.
Okay, I like that, and that makes sense because, and I think there's something that you hit on that I want to expand upon because I do hear from a lot of people when they're in that process or once they've made that decision, they regret their decision. They double guess themselves. Should I have gone to another vet? Should I have just waited a little longer? Uh, I don't know anybody who doesn't go through that. So you're saying that this it just kind of removes that negative energy. It comes in. I'm assuming you are there with the person. Talk to us about how your
Yep.
interaction works during this ceremony.
So during the ceremony, um, what I do is I look at, and people sometimes have questions for me. So they'll say, is my dog ready? How do they feel about this? Um, do they know that I love them? I've had a lot of questions like that around this. And so energetically, I reach it, I connect with the animal. Some of it is animal communication, and then some of it is other forms of energy work that kind of it all sort of melds together, and help answer some of those questions for people. Let them know how their animal is feeling. Um, I had this one Yorkie that I worked with, and she had really advanced liver cancer, and her mom was upset, obviously, and this little dog, all she kept saying to me was, "I'm sorry, I can't help it." That was her message, was that she couldn't help it, and she was sorry that that her mom was going through all of this pain. And it's interesting that even in those moments, they are so concerned with us and how we deal with things.
I've heard people say that before. Yeah.
Exactly. They pick up on our emotions. And at a time when we should be focusing on them and easing their journey forward, some of them still stay connected here to a sense, or connected to their human, and it's harder for them to pass if they're more worried about us than we are about them.
Yeah.
Which is that unconditional love that animals bring to our life, which is a great joy for us. And that is why people really have a hard time. It's harder for some people to lose an animal companion than it is a family member.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, because there's a little bit of different communication you can have with, um, a human family member and the, you understand because you're speaking, you can understand what they're saying. It's a little bit different. I think people have a harder time, especially when they're going through, the doubt and the grief and the regret and things like that, for them to have that clarity of hearing what their animal or understanding the body language of what their animal's trying to say. So it sounds like that's where someone like you could come in and give that clarity.
Give that clarity, help give that space, help bring those emotions a little bit more in line. Let go of the non-beneficial thoughts and energies that we have floating around, because it doesn't serve anyone.
Yep.
And it distracts from the beauty of being there and loving our animal and supporting them the way they've always done for us. The Hawaiians have a word, it's kuna, and it means trusted guardian, or caregiver. It's got several different meanings to it, but in particular, it's used to talk about knowledge, pets, and children. And so when we're looking at pets, again, we are that caregiver. We are that protector. And we're coming to a point where we can no longer fulfill that role for them. And that is very difficult for people to face, that that dynamic.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, we have our own views of end of life, but we are so far from understanding an animal's view on end of life. I've heard from different people in this space that animals definitely don't see it the same way we do, and they don't grieve the same way we do. They're more worried about us, like you said. So, do you have any more insight into what our animals are thinking or feeling that might give us kind of peace of mind?
Animals are so connected with um, they're so connected with spirituality, with that whole circle of life, and they see it as going home. To them, it is a journey that they look forward to.
Hmm.
Um, it is not. It's not the sad ending. We feel the loss of their presence in our life, their physical presence in our life, but that's not the way they look at it at all. Again, it's that fulfillment, it's that circle of life, it's that returning to where they came from. And if you believe in reincarnation, it's that preparing for the next incarnation.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, how do we change our mindset and remain present for our animal companions as opposed to, I mean, I'm when Dakota goes, she's 14 and a half. I'm going to be bubbling it. At least that's what it's going to seem. I'll be so emotional. I'll be crying so much. I probably won't even be able to concentrate.
And that's just it, is that it is such an overwhelming feeling for people. And to have someone there to sort of help support you, and to do that energy work, um, and help you clear some of that non-beneficial stuff. I had a client a while ago who's lost several pets. And when I was working with them and helping clear energy for them, so that, and to sort of set the stage for them to be able to be there for their animal companion, they had so much grief, unprocessed grief, that they were sort of clinging on to. And energetically, that looks like this very sticky, oily mud type of substance that just kind of clings to your energy field and just really sort of brings you down. Um, and then what happens is every time you have another loss, that just grows and grows if you're not able to process it and grieve and move on. And sometimes that means a ceremony like this to help you start that process. And sometimes it's working with a professional that can really help you sort of transition through that journey, because it's a devastating loss for anyone. And there's no shame in asking for help in processing that. And because we move on, it doesn't mean that we've forgotten our animals or that they mean any less to us. Um, it's what they want for us. They want us to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that's part of the reason why they come into our lives, is that they're here to help us grow. I mean, there's a saying in the dog training world where you don't get the dog you want, you get the dog you need.
Yeah.
And and they help us to grow and evolve. And they show us what unconditional love looks like. And honoring them by being the best version that we can be and helping them with this journey and even afterward is what they is really what they want for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how does this work? How do serenity ceremonies help humans and animals? And like, if somebody was considering wanting to work with you or understanding how that partnership with you would work as they're preparing for what is yet to come, kind of take us through that, I think.
So the first thing we do is we have a conversation, either on a video chat or over the phone, and we sort of talk about where you're at, what's going on, what your concerns are. And then once we sort of map all of that out, then we set an appointment for a session. And I come in and sit down with the animal and with their owners. And again, it can be the entire family. It can just be one person with the animal. It doesn't really much matter to me. I'm mostly focused on the primary people in that animal's life, the primary caregivers, the people that it's most closely connected with. And what we do first is we clear the space and then hold the space. So we help move out any energies that are non-beneficial from the room or the yard or wherever it is that we're at. And so we clear that energy first. And then I connect with the animal, and I look at their chakra system, and I look at what chakras they need balanced to help move on from this life. I then look at the humans and what chakras they need balanced to help them deal with grief and processing loss, and help pull everybody into a space of, again, focusing on that love and that connection with your animal. Again, sometimes people have questions for their animal. I tap into the animal. I ask them, get the answers to those questions that they have. And then also we'll do something like a crystal grids for people. So I'll do a crystal grid for the animal and go through and select the best stones for them to help them move into the next life. And then I also do the same thing for the humans, so that, and again, it's all around helping support them to deal with loss and grief and focus on the loving connection with their animal companion. And people get photos of the grid and then the meanings of the stones as well. So there's a written report that comes at the end of the session as well. So because when I'm writing, as because I take notes as I'm going through this, it's a lot of head scratch. And then I get home and I type up the report. Well, everything is still fresh in my mind. And then that I send that off to the owner, and then we talk about any questions they may have afterwards. So there's that beginning conversation, there's the session itself, and then there's a wrap up. And, we can take that further if people need it.
That sounds like it would be an amazing support service. I kind of think of, as children come in this world, I had a doula, and as our animals are leaving this world, there's someone like you with this understanding and this connection and this energy that it would be really interesting to have someone like you. I'm thinking back because we lost one of our cats on Christmas Day, and then we lost another one 3 weeks later. And they were 15 and 21, so they had been with us for a while. See, I'm already.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So, imagining someone like you there who can see everything versus us. We're just so focused on our grief. You are there to support, in a very different way. I can see. It fascinates me. It really does.
I've also done sort of a modified Serenity Ceremony for animals that are in spirit. And the focus is a little bit different, but it is, and that it's amazing how much grief people carry around with them, even a year or so later.
Almost to the point where they don't give themselves permission to, bring another animal into their homes because they feel guilty about that too.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it too soon? Yeah.
And being able to help someone, I had this one client. They were they'd had an injury. They were recouping someplace else, and they came home, and their animal companion passed within a few days, and they felt so guilty that they weren't home for those last few weeks with their dog.
Yep.
And it was nice to be able to help them see that event from a different perspective, and to be able to sort of to start the healing process from that. That's the beauty of this work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how would people learn more about this, or how could people reach out to you to work with you?
So my website is happiness4dogs.com. My email address is in there. My telephone number is in there. If you have any questions, if you want to know more about the session, if you want to explore the possibility of a session, either for an animal that's on this side or one in spirit, I'd be happy to answer any questions people have.
Okay, that's wonderful. And then also to let people know that you will be our featured expert in November. So if you are watching on the replay, you can watch for the events and online education coming up from that. And if you're watching this in our library, if you're a member watching this on the replay, then look for those different topics as well if you are interested in learning more about what Serenity Ceremonies are and what Happiness for Dogs can do for you.
Yeah, and just a teaser for November really quickly, if I may. So we're looking at doing a couple of different things. We're looking on focusing on gratitude, and we're also looking at Reiki. And everyone has the ability to perform Reiki, and we're looking at offering a class so that people can do Reiki on themselves and then on their animals as well.
Oh, that'll be fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Well, Melanie, thank you very much for spending time with us today and helping us to recognize Pet Memorial Month and give people more options and ideas and happiness. I mean, it just goes well with your with the name of your company. More happiness with working with you and helping us to help our pets transition and kind of help us transition as well. So appreciate your time today.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you have a great day. Take care.
Bye.